Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Come on in. Come on in.
Happy Friday, everyone.
Hope you're having a tremendous week.
Yes.
As we are, let us know where you're streaming from. Let us know where you are streaming from.
Yes. We have a really good topic tonight. I think everyone can take something, get some takeaways
Correct.
from this. We're going to do a couples Q&A.
We had some questions that came in recently that we want to deal with in reference to relationships. And so it's always good to vent, get some feedback. And we want your interaction. So first off, let us know where you're streaming from.
Right.
Let us know where you're streaming from as we jump into this message, this Q&A. We're just going to have a fellowship session tonight, whereas we just ask some real questions that people have asked us. And so, all right, if you don't know, my name is Jomo.
I'm Charmaine.
And we get together on Friday nights with real, raw, and relevant conversation dealing with relationships.
Yes.
And tonight we have some hot button issues. The first one, I'm gonna set it up, and then we're just gonna kind of dig in.
Okay.
This particular person is having some challenges with their spouse in reference to their health. Okay. So, what is a realistic expectation that we should anticipate for the health and fitness of our spouse? So I'm asking you right now, what would be a realistic expectation? Now, you can give me your feedback, and then, you know, I'm going to kind of, I had 3 or 4 points I thought that would be pertinent to this.
Right. I think, you know, before you even, because I agree with all of the points that you're about to make, because we kind of spoke about it beforehand, but I do think that you have to consider what their health was before you got together.
Yeah.
So if they didn't really, their health was not a big concern or priority for them initially, I don't think putting health, like making all these health requests are going to make a big difference if it wasn't a big priority ahead of time.
Correct.
So you need to consider where their health was prior to the relationship. Now, if they were pretty fit prior to the relationship and it was a lifestyle for them, then it wouldn't be an issue to say, hey, I want you to stay healthy. I want us both to be able to live a long, healthy life. You know, it's one thing, all of us have to die, right? But the way you die, you do have some control over it in the sense of how you take care of your temple.
Facts.
And you know, God determines when we.
Correct. You could be a vegan and die early.
Right.
I mean, you could eat. You know, we see people all the time smoke and drink and live 100. You know, there's no. But on average, taking care of yourself gives you a better quality of life.
Right.
So
what are some things that you would say would be some realistic expectations as far as if you were to say to your spouse, these are some health goals I want us to live with in our relationship?
So first one, I want us to be healthy. Okay? Now, that's a broad definition.
Right.
What exactly does healthy mean?
Right.
I would get some metric by which we can gauge ourselves.
Because we look at our numbers for our blood work every year together.
Yeah, that's good blood
we
work.
go to our physicals together.
Yeah, so, you know, my blood work is good, my cholesterol is not good. So my issue is cholesterol. So with that, the doctor says I should increase my cardiovascular work.
Right.
And so I do that.
Right.
Okay, now he says...
And when you first had an issue with it, we changed our diet up,
we tried
lost weight,
you
did all the things that you could do on
in
your
the natural.
end.
Correct. So I said, okay, first off, I want us to be healthy. So what does it entail? Let's eat better. Okay? For me now, I'm trying to cut back on fried foods. Okay? Now I understand Popeyes is from the Lord. He'll be up here. And there's some things that are just good. Now, still with that, you know, usually I try to have mashed potatoes instead of French fries. You know, small compromise.
Right.
Not, you know, I still have fried foods, but I don't have it as often. So my point is, you can balance it.
Right.
Eating better, more fruits, more vegetables, eating better, less meat. Now, I still have meat, but it's less meat. You feel me?
Right, and the types of meat you
Correct. More fish,
Right.
less red meat and pork.
Right.
I still like it, but less. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's a gradual progression.
Right.
I want to work on us keeping it tight. Okay?
Yeah.
Me-
As far as physically fit.
physically fit. Not everyone's physically fit is different. Okay?
Right.
So for example, I am not the dude I was 20 years ago. Okay?
And I'm not the girl I was 20 years ago.
Okay? So these are facts.
Right.
Okay? Some areas of my body were tighter then than they are now.
And we were doing more then too.
Okay, so with that
Right.
being said, I have to make allowances for certain things. Okay, Charmaine's had 3 pregnancies and 3 babies. Okay, so I have to make an allowance for that. I've been through cancer and chemotherapy and knee reconstruction, so I got to make allowances for that. So certain things, activity-wise, we don't do. I don't do, just because my body don't work like it used to work. Got it? So do what you can, but do it consistently.
Right. Right.
Do something to extend the life. I want to be married for another 30 or 40 years. Okay? So that means for that to manifest,
You're gonna be married until you die. I don't want to be married until I die. You know, that's different than I want to be married for the next 20 or 30 years.
I said 30 or 40 years.
Okay.
And that's a problem. I mean,
If you're 99 and still breathing, and I'm still breathing, we together, brother.
with that being said,
With that being said,
the goal is to do the best we can while we can.
right, right. If there's some areas in your lifestyle that you could live healthier, then
Yeah,
do
you can
that.
work
You
on
need
it.
to eat more fiber. If your gut health isn't good, if
Do
your
the best you
cholesterol
can.
isn't good, if your blood pressure's not good, you know, go to the doctor. A lot of our issues
That's a
are
whole
that we
nother
don't
thing.
even go to the doctor
That's a
and find out.
whole nother thing.
The Bible says that you have to go off of wisdom and knowledge, and if you don't even have that, then you
Yeah.
don't have anything to go off of.
So preventative
So-
maintenance. Get your
Right.
checkups. Get your annuals. I know I got a facial last week, and the lady said I should see a dermatologist for all my skin. She said nothing
Do a
wrong.
body checkup.
Do a body checkup.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? That's a good idea. I'm gonna tell my
Your
wife.
skin is the biggest organism, so if you
See,
don't go to a dermatologist, that's a problem.
Again, we have to take care of ourselves.
Right.
So I never said you had to be a certain size. I never said you had to be this or that. I'm saying we should always be working to be better.
That's good.
Okay?
That's good.
Next question.
All right.
What should we do if we have a disagreement over a parenting matter? Now, for us, my struggle has been, by the way, anybody in your house parent different than you? Just put a Y. Put a Y. If anybody in the house. So I don't agree with how she does some things sometimes. Okay? And she sure enough don't agree with how I do things sometimes. And me growing up in a more challenged environment, I have a different mentality on some things than she does. Okay? She still works hard. I'm not saying it works. My premise is my concept is different. So there could be moments where how I would handle it doesn't necessarily align with how she would handle it. You know, and she's the mother hen and the lioness and all that other stuff. So, navigating through that. So if you have a disagreement, express your opinions clearly.
Okay.
If you can't agree, get godly counsel.
That's it.
Get godly counsel. Because I know there's certain times where there's an impasse. I do not agree with her. She does not agree with me.
Right.
And that's where you have to find wise people that you trust and you let them decide.
And we've never had to even go that far with it. Normally we just pray together and God always fixes everything. I mean, at the end of the day, what's gonna be will be.
Okay.
And we prayed about it and we just
Some
let it
stuff,
be.
yeah.
Yeah.
Some stuff ain't even worth arguing about.
Right.
Next one, it's a good one now. Is there anything about our financial condition that could turn into a recurring argument? Is there anything? Ooh, I want y'all to type right now. Is there anything in your relationship?
And you don't even have to be personal in your relationship. It could be just in relationships in general that you would see could be a recurring
problem.
issue.
Okay.
Yeah. I know for a lot of couples, if you feel like you have to sneak and buy things and then you get caught sneaking and buying things, the other partner or the other person could feel, like you're being deceitful because you're not being honest about your purchases. So that could be an issue.
So I got 5 of them. Okay, my opinion: overspending. Okay, and this often happens because there's a lack of budget. So number 1, overspending.
Right.
Number 2, lack of a budget. Number 3, poor choices.
Now that is very subjective.
If we ain't got the money, you shouldn't be spending the money.
Oh no, I was talking about the actual purchase itself.
Yeah, I know.
Poor choice.
Yes, a poor choice. We got these lights to pay, the bills to pay.
No, I'm not talking about spending like at Target versus paying a light bill. I'm talking about a poor choice as far as like a purchase.
So what one person values,
right,
versus another person values.
Right. So like if you're at the grocery store, you may think Pop-Tarts is a necessity, whereas your husband might be like, Pop-Tarts is not a necessity. And you're thinking, okay, when them kids wake up late in the morning and I'm trying to get them ready to go to school, they could pop a Pop-Tart in the toaster. You are not getting up to fix a breakfast.
Now, I was not talking about a $4 event. I'm talking about
No, and I understand what you're saying. I'm just giving you an example because
yes.
certain purchases, even when you're at the mall or if you're in another store or any type of purchase, is subjective because it depends on your perspective on how that would help the family or not help the family.
To be clear, I don't really talk about food issues, money in reference to that. No, I'm just saying no, I understand what you're trying to say. My premise is you have to decide what are necessities and what are unnecessary events. Now, this is a subjective to your opinion and your relationship, your budget, your family. There's a lot of variables to this process. But the premise is
because if you don't have a lot of money, then ain't nothing to talk about.
Ain't nothing to talk about. we just gonna ride with what we have right now.
We didn't even, when we were tight on money because we were trying to save up for a house, we didn't even talk about, there was no spending. It was like if we weren't able to get it for free, like we listened to the radio and got free movie tickets and stuff. Huh?
That sucked.
It did?
Yeah,
I thought it was kind of fun.
I thought by the time you drove wherever the place, lost the money in gas. I mean, but it was at the time, season, it made sense. When I look at it now, when I look back. Anyway, we have to understand what is need, what is now, what is necessary. And not everything's necessary. So for your relationship, what could be a recurring thing financially that could be detrimental to your relationship? I know a big one: lack of saving. Because the rainy day comes. Whether you want it to come or not, it's coming. And what's your plan for retirement? Question: what is the age that you would like to retire? Put in the chat, what is the age that you would like to retire? Or you can kind of tone it down or scale it back. What do you consider retirement? Some say 75. I was talking to a friend of mine, and his plan was way in the 60s. And I ain't mad at him because the 60s don't change, because I am, a little bit over 30 now, and I feel like I'm 18. Just a little bit over 30. Praise the Lord. All right. Next question.
All right.
What requirements of yours? Ooh, this is tough. I don't even want to ask this question right here. What requirements of yours have I been unable to meet?
That can be a tough question. I think when you're answering this question, make sure that you're not, being mean. Be nice. Be nice. Speak in love. Speak in love because you want them to be able to receive whatever you're trying to say and not feel like they need to be on the defense.
Valuable.
So a lot of times when you ask questions, it could be a setup to something else. You already know what you want to say, and you've been trying to get this out for 5 months, and now this is your opportunity. And yeah, don't go in hard. it's best to pray about your words and let God give you the words so that your spouse can receive it in a positive way, and you guys can work on it together.
I think you have to make sure that when you decide to go down this road, your relationship is in a good place.
Yeah. If it's not in a good place, then you already know the answer.
Correct.
You already know the answer. Now, a way to reword it is, do you see me improving on these things? And if they say no, then you can then say, these are the things that I've changed to be able to improve. Or you can even say that before you even ask the question, like, hey, I've been doing X, Y, Z to improve me popping off, or whatever your issue is. And then you can ask your spouse, do they see the change? I asked you that yesterday, the day before yesterday.
You did?
You know, do you see the change? And if the person doesn't see a change, I would like an honest answer. Like, no, I really don't see that, because you still do this, this, and this. And you know, sometimes we do things we don't even realize that we're doing them, because it's just by nature you do them.
She actually, not to be explicit, she actually said, am I doing better with this?
Right.
So she was specific in the thing that I had mentioned, and I said, you're doing really good with it. And again, remember, you'll never change what you don't confront.
Right.
So if you don't say it bothers you, or is a problematic, or is a problematic to your relationship, it's not going to change. Now, of course, you have to be in a mature place to where you could have a discussion about your relationship and not feel like it's an attack. Mm-hmm. And it's hard. We're all humans. We have feelings, and no one really wants to hear that, there's something that I could do better or improve upon. But maturity is that we're not perfect.
Right.
We're flawed. And not every day I got it together. I know that about me. I know that sometimes I'm sharp with my mouth, sometimes I don't listen. I know. And, she decides to endure this albatross named Jomo. All right. Next question. What are your plans if you are seduced by someone else?
Let me tell you something. If you're seduced by someone else, I'll just tell Jomo right now, all you gotta do is send me a text message. That's all it is, just a text message.
And what's gonna happen?
A text message and a picture.
Okay, and then what's gonna happen?
You say, hold on, right here. My wife just said just to take a picture of you, and then I'm about to text her real quick, and I pray for you. That's all over. Mm-hmm. That's it, and that's all.
So it's gonna be violent.
Go on and call Gina.
Who's Gina?
Gina is the sheriff.
Oh, Lord.
Go on and call Gina. Tell Gina to meet us up at the church. Because it's going down.
So, is that your answer?
No, that's not my answer.
Okay.
If someone seduces you at work, this is a serious matter.
Don't you have to be a part of it? To be seduced? Don't you kind of have to be like a...
No.
Okay.
Because I feel like women get seduced all the time at work by male counterparts or their supervisors, and it puts them in a really bad position.
Okay,
because
I can see that.
It's like, okay, do I want to lose my job? Do I want to miss out on this promotion? Or do I want to just kind of play with him a little bit, tinker the line a little bit,
Flirt.
so I can get this promotion, because if I make him mad, then I know I'm not going to get the promotion, or I'm not going to get what is owed to me, what I've worked hard for.
Correct.
And now I think sometimes seduction can go two ways, but sometimes you get seduced and you're like, what in the world is happening right now? Like, so if you get seduced at work, first and foremost, I would want my spouse to feel comfortable enough to tell me what happened. Communicate that to your spouse. And you need to have like some steps, because the thing is if you're seduced at work, it depends on what position you're in. If you're in a lower position,
it's harder. You
could lose your job.
Okay.
Telling on a supervisor.
Have I told you some stuff that's crazy before?
Wow, you have some stories?
No, I'm
No, do you? You have some stories? From the church office? Action 9 wants to know.
I think I've been in some spots that I could see where it could have went south.
At the church?
At churches, not the church, but at churches.
You're being vague right now, Jomo. Reel it back in. Does the church start with an L and end with a C?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know what I'm talking about? Love First Christian Center?
Oh, it ends with an R.
LFCC?
I don't know.
LFCC? LFCC?
I don't remember. I can't.
Okay, your memory's going bad real quick. All right, that's action 9. Back to you, Bob. Back to you.
I mean, I've
No,
situations
but
where I felt uncomfortable.
really in church?
I felt uncomfortable.
Oh, okay.
I'm not
I
saying
know that
right.
one time that the chick hit on you, and she called me and told me about it like 5 years later. I know about that time.
Yeah,
I do know about one time at our church. But it's all good. She don't even go there no more.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I know what I'm talking about.
You're kind of vague.
But didn't you get
Dr.
hit
Cousins,
on when you were a
Dr.
teacher?
Cousins, you're kind of vague. You're
No,
kind of vague.
you want me to say names?
I didn't say names.
Oh,
But
okay.
you're
Well, then
being-
I'm not being vague.
Okay, then.
I said she don't go to the church no more. But I do remember you got hit on at your high school, at the middle school that you used to work at.
I don't remember that. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I remember. That's when I came to visit you for lunch.
Oh yeah.
Just just a little pop up,
She put on her
Just a little
best.
pop up.
She put on her best outfit. Okay, she put up her best. I'm a middle school teacher. I ain't bothering nobody. She come with her best outfit on, strutting in. I need to see what's going on. I said,
I didn't see what was going on. I just wanted to say hello to all your coworkers. Ain't nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong. Wives. There's nothing wrong with bringing your husband lunch every now and then. Just a little pop-up. That's what it's called.
She was trying
lunch.
to put her foot down, trying to make everyone see.
No, I wasn't trying to put I was very nice, wasn't I, to everybody?
I-
Hey girl, hey. Hey girl, hey. Hey girl, hey. Hey girl.
Wow. Okay, let's.
No, but what would you do? What do you think a couple should do? How do you talk this through? Because I think this is a really good question.
I think brothers have to run.
What?
Brothers have to run.
But what you have to run? Okay, so
You can't even put yourself in a situation. You're gonna lose. Men don't win in this
what
situation.
is your plan? So the plan is to run?
Yes, I'm running from the chick.
But you would tell your wife though.
Yeah, I
What
tell you.
happened? Like you be open because what the last thing you want to do is some chick to come up to your wife and be like, "Oh, I hit on your husband."
I tell you. I show you all the text messages.
No,
that
you
my
get
premise.
really defensive.
No, I'm not saying. I'm not trying. Facetious. My premise is, I was trying to give you an example that when something happens, you communicate with your spouse.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Give an example.
If someone sends something inappropriate to you on social media, show your wife.
Right.
So then now she's not blindsided by something. If there's an inappropriate situation, communicate with your wife
Right away.
right away so that if something comes back, you already told her that. This is how you this is how you protect yourself from situations, because if something were to happen, she's the first to know.
Right.
So now she comes like from a different place than being blindsided.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right. 40. Next one. What are your deepest wounds, and how may I assist you in healing them?
I think this is really good because a lot of times we don't want to make ourselves vulnerable enough to even say what those are.
And so many people.
But we could run into triggers. What were you about to say?
So many marriages that I've seen that have not made it. Most of the issue was not the current issue.
It's the past.
It was a past.
Yeah.
And those wounds were never healed. And it manifests in the current relationship.
Right.
So it's better to get it all out on the table to see if we can heal it. Because ignoring it's not going to change it.
Right.
Okay.
That's good.
What are you willing to do with or for me that you haven't been able to do with or for other people in the past? I repeat, what are you willing to do with or for me that you have not been able to do with or for other people in the past?
Wow. What is your thought on that one?
I think that I believe that you are the best one for me. What
What are you able to do?
I couldn't believe that before.
Oh, you didn't believe it that
No.
I was the best one for you before?
No. Well, my point is,
But
I was.
now you believe it?
Well, with time, meaning I understand now why God created you for me. Now,
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
You see everything.
I see everything.
It's a whole picture.
Yeah, like when I tell you, like, babe, you do a lot of graphic design stuff for me. I never thought in my wildest dreams we'd be running a church and you could do stuff like that. You know, you're technically savvy. You know, I never thought we'd be recording videos every day.
Right.
You know, my point is, so when I look at how it's come out, I see that even though I didn't see it, I believe it now. Before I
You
was
like me in business. You like me in business.
no, I like in everything.
You do?
Yeah, but my premise is, I see more now. You know, before, like, man, I just don't know, because how do you know if this is the one? And, you know, with the confusion of the one. But when I look at it, you're the closest thing to the one.
To God?
No, not to, I mean,
You said the one.
no, what I'm-
Like it's somebody else that's like better, but you just didn't find him, so you've like tapped out on that. And you was like, okay, she gotta be the one because it's gonna be the closest to the one.
somebody help me right now. Somebody, I thought that
No,
was,
but that's what I heard. I was just like trying to get
Did I-
clear.
did I say-
I was trying to clarify.
did I say that wrong?
I was trying to clarify.
Because I thought, well,
You said the closest to the one. That's what you said.
The question was, what can you do now that you couldn't do then? And my answer was, I couldn't believe like I believe now.
I like that.
So I'm saying, at that time, I could never fathom that. Whereas now, as I've grown and learned, I see now more that I never would have been able to see before.
I think I love harder with you than anybody else, just because I've invested so much time. So I guess that's the same thing.
Okay.
I'm assuming that's what you were trying to say, but I don't know.
Last question we got here. Last question. What is your most heinous habit? Woo.
What is my most heinous habit?
What is your most heinous habit?
I don't even know if I want to put this on camera.
Well, you ain't got to.
Yeah.
What is I think
habit? Like a habit, like it can't be snoring because you can't control that, like your sleep, so you can't really control snoring.
heinous habit.
Wanting to have conversation in the bathroom while I'm on the toilet. Hey Jomo, come talk.
That's a good one right there.
Come talk to me.
I think I do. I know for me, probably my heinous habits is I think sometimes I act as if I'm still in the street. I'll do some stuff that's like, why'd you do that? You know, I'm so, at times I can be so common. And she'll actually say, Jomo, you got money, you know, you have a PhD, you should be
very educated. You could talk well.
Correct.
Why are you speaking like that?
Yes, correct. So I know that there's times when,
Doing it on purpose. I think you do it to try to relate to people, but I don't think people look for that. Sometimes even people that don't know how to speak well, they don't mind you speaking well around them. That doesn't make them uncomfortable because they're being themselves. They just want you to be yourself. Does that make sense?
I think that I have a balance because like in the morning times when I teach, it's really clear. I think sometimes when I preach, it can get south sometimes. But it's a combination of who I am. I'm a little bit of everything. But sometimes you're like, I wish you'd just stay at this level. And there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, I flow the way I flow, and after the fact, I listen to myself and I'm like, oh, I didn't quite like that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm reaching who I think God wants me to reach. But I think I could always be better. I don't think I should settle for a lower level. But sometimes my vernacular will change. Well, anything else you want to say, love?
No, this was some good questions.
Yes.
I hope you guys, if you didn't get a chance to write the questions down, these would be great questions if you're in a relationship, dating. These would be great questions to talk about to your spouse or your loved one. Let us know in the comment section which question you thought was the most intriguing.
Correct.
Remember,
Love, laugh, and learn.